Hey everybody, hey Kevin, hey Zanis. We need to finish fishing. Finalize the fish stuff. Yeah, let's go write this down. I guess this is all over here for now anyway, right? Yeah. All right. Just gonna pick up right where I left off. Not that much more to say right now. Permanently upgrade the stats of specific adventurers, health and power, just like quest. So done with this. Concept of power cubes. I kind of talked about this in terms of the slime, like a new slime there that eats fish. Yeah, blue one. Let's see. We need to show how many power fragments you have. Kevin's been spending the last 45 minutes. I will make fish puns. I still want to think about this, but it's written down below. So should have to pick between upgrading health and power. I don't think so. I feel like instead of deleting them, we should just move them off the list. Scratch. Yeah, there. All right, power cross increases. Yep, sounds good. Cool. It's written. My fish knowledge is not that impressive. I feel like people don't talk about fish enough for there to be a lot of very common puns. Like people talk about cheese more. So you hear puns about Gouda and whatever. There should be a talking about food tier list. Potions are what spawn new fish. So I do like this idea. I think we should stick with this. Yeah. So as you get further in the game, one potion will give you more fish. Okay. I guess it's the other problem, language barrier too. How do you see how many fish you have? Maybe there's a sign like quest progress board that shows how many fish are in the pond and how many you've gotten. Yeah, I think we need to talk about how that slime potentially works. Title pulled me in very strongly today. Thanks, Evelyn. Also, I want the garbage slime to be happy, but I think I'd want the fish slime to be unhappy looking. Like this one's a very cheery slime. We can use the same general sprite. Maybe it's a thinner slime. Maybe it's unhappy. Someday the fish puns will die. Someday they'll go back to being C# puns. Yeah, hovering over this could tell you how many fish you have. But I think by putting a slime there, it can tell you how this thing works. Also, I wonder if this slime should have a dialogue like, "Hi, I'm a slime. I'll pay you for tasty items." Like, how does this work? And then there could be a perks thing here. Although I don't think clicking twice to get to that would be good. I wonder, I think just having a bulletin board on the side would be nice for this. Hmm. Still debating on how this will work. So how about we write some of this down? Close editors. Yeah, close all this stuff. Okay, so something needs to convert fish into stats. Option number one is to just have a UI that turns fish into stats. Option number two is have something like a fish slime that eats the fish and turns them into power fragments. which you then convert into stats. We can modulate to make a slime of any color. Yeah, but I think we would want the slimes to be visually distinct. Like I said, like I want this one to be very happy, but I don't want it to just be that every slime in the world is happy. Like the other ones maybe be a little thinner, maybe have a different face. If we were using the exact same one, then yes, I'd say let's turn it whitish and then just modulate it. But yeah, I think it should be distinct. Hey, Shane. Option number 3 is have some kind of machine that does this stuff. Hmm. Hmm. The only issue here is that your pond has a fish population and then you have a stock of fish somewhere. So it could get confusing. I like the idea that we convert each fish into a power fragment so that you have 2 distinct counts. Yeah, I think that's why we need to separate this. So every fish that you pull up is eaten by this slime. Also, it would let us lean into the slime motif a little bit more too. I think I like the idea. Would it make sense for it to be the same UI for pond and fish to fish? I think it makes sense. I just think that showing you like fish in the pond versus fish you fished up that you hovered over the pond to see is confusing. So I think it's got to be like fish in the pond 5, power fragments 22. And the power fragments are for upgrading your stats. And actually, I don't know. There are other ways we could do this. We could go with the idea that people had suggested of the potions going into the water actually changing the color. And then maybe we just have like flash and rainbow colors when it's ready to be fished up. And now you can go into a battle against the pond. No, I like it to just be a continuous thing. Okay, so the pond comes with a fish slime. Should we call him something else? We have the garbage slime, which I think is funny because it's a very happy creature, and yeah, we have a somewhat derogatory sounding name, garbage slime. I wonder for a fish slime what we would call them. Pond scum slime. I actually kind of like that. All right. Pond scum itself is a massive algae forming a green film on the surface of stagnant water. A person or thing perceived as worthless or contemptible. Yeah, I agree with you, Kevin. And I think that's good too for the people who play more idly. They can just walk away from their computer and they'll eventually get some fish. Pond scum slime. I think that might be going a little too far. I think we should maybe just call them the fish slime. I'm not sure though. Yeah. Oh, Chef Alton, thank you for gifting that sub. And welcoming Vera. I'm not even sure if you're here. No, they're not. I was gonna say even if they are here, they might be looking at an ad right now. Yeah, I think it might be a little too far too. And I wonder if fish slime is what's best, or maybe snacky slime, or what's the thing known for eating lots of fish? What eats the most fish? China. Okay, China slime. I just want to know which animal. Orca, killer whale. I don't think you're gonna use this. Pond slime might not be bad. Let's call him that for now. And maybe come up with something better. Pond comes with a pond slime or lake slime. Well, lake slime makes it sound like it's a lake named Slime. That would be Slime Lake. Pond slime. Yeah, pond slime. The pond slime exists as an intermediary between fish and stat upgrades. That way we don't have to render how many fish your pond has versus how many you have. Fish are automatically converted into power fragments by the pond slime. Suspicious slime. Soggy slime. Soggy slime's not bad. Fish are automatically converted into power fragments of the pond slime. There needs to be some animation for this or else it's not going to be clear. Like, oh, I fished up fish. Now where are they? And I wonder how we should do that. Because you'll be seeing fish getting earned from the battle window. We could have them like fly out of here and go into the pond slime, but I don't think I like that idea. And maybe when you get done with the battle, you see something happen. We're probably gonna need an animation for items going into the warehouse. So we might need an animation for items going into the pond slime. Then again, if you're getting them as you're fighting, you might want to see them animate over to the pond slime automatically. I don't know. We could just render it in the world, like they're getting fished up out of here and they just go into the slime. I think that probably makes the most sense. Players will be able to see them animate flying, to see fish animate from the pond into the slime. And power fragments are a currency, like a meta currency, used to permanently upgrade adventurers. Yeah. Oh, cool, Kevin. Yeah, that sounds good. All right, I like this idea. I think we can delete this. How do you see how many fish you have? Now it's how do you see how many power fragments you have? So how many, well, I guess there are two things you need to see. The fish you have and the power fragments you have. I mean, the slime can tell you how this stuff works. Slime would probably say something like, dump potions into the pond to stimulate fish breeding or fish growth. And then fish them out on the battle map. And then I'll convert them into power fragments that you can eat. Something like that. Yeah. The slime tells you how fishing works when you click them. So lost with the fish thing. So this is what we have kind of sketched out. I'll explain it quickly and let me know if it makes sense and let me know if it doesn't. So just like how you build everything else in the game, there's a sign here for the armor shop and you click build. There's going to be a sign here and you'll click build and it'll make this pond. So far that's it. You build a pond. Okay, great. Now your pond stocks itself with fish very slowly and you can choose to dump potions in to get fish to spawn faster. And then you enter a battle against your fish by just, clicking the node in the map and clicking start battle, and you will fish up the fish, which will then turn into these little power fragments that give you stat boosts. So basically, fishing gets you stat boosts, just like how quests give you stat boosts. But this you have to apply specifically to certain adventurers. Hovering over the pond show you how many fish there are. It should probably just show it no matter what, I think. Yeah, what if we had a sign here that showed you how many fish there are? I don't know, but definitely hovering over this will show you how many power fragments you have. Does that make sense, Moscow Busto? Or is a plan to add some more of these mini game things? Yeah, pretty much. It's not really a mini game. Like the way that fishing would work in a lot of games is that you would have some kind of fishing mini game, like Stardew Valley fishing. Yeah, so this being a manually played game, there was this like fishing meter and you had to catch the fish within this thing. I don't know if they have a slightly larger picture. Yeah, so it was definitely what most people would consider a mini game. In Skeleseller, it's kind of just another system that exists. Like when you start a battle, you get items. When you start a battle against your fishing pond, you get fish. And then you use the fish to upgrade your adventures. It makes sense if the fishing only gave you health and we changed quest rewards to give only power, so you kind of want to pursue both. Yeah, that could be interesting. Yeah. I think we need to think about quests a little bit more too. But let me write that down. Because any other power progression we have might need to also be changed. Where did I write the thing about? Which thing? Yeah, here. No, perhaps we should only have fishing give health and only have quests give power. So if we're going to do that, you know what I think we should probably do is instead of having a slime, or you know what? We could rename the slime to a fire slime or something like that, and it's cooking the fish for you. That could potentially work. Maybe the slime is actually a fire slime and you feed it fish, but that just cooks them for you to eat. Then we could show fish and cooked fish. Yeah. Perhaps this can always show on a signboard. Good cue to make it with an angry face. Yeah. Nice red, fiery slime. All right, what else? What else? What else? It stops you from auto battling. I guess we should just write that down. Can start many fishing battles at once, but you'll be limited by how many fish are in the pond. All right. A dedicated UI. Yeah, so to actually get the power orbs, there will be a dedicated UI for granting the rewards to adventurers. You would see the adventurers. You could select an adventurer, see their total buffs, cost of the next buff, how many power fragments you have, and then a slider for being able to grant however much you want at a time. Yeah. So money doesn't factor in. And then there are perks to upgrade this. Perks. More maximum fish in the pond. Quicker natural respawn. What else? Potions are more effective at spawning fish. Yeah, pretty much just those. Maybe it just lowers the gold threshold. Yeah, the pond has to be navigable. Since that's where they'll battle and drop potions. Okay. I didn't mean to delete all that. I meant to look at this. Figure out how battles need to change for this. Instead of walking to the portal, could have them walk to the pond. So, anything else about this that I need to think about? I can picture a lot of it in my head. I think there is a lot to do here for sure. We need to make it so you can unlock the pond. So this would just be normal forested area before that. So same thing we've done with pretty much everything else. Maybe a pond here. We probably need to carve out a path down there too, which means we can't really use this space for anything else if there's going to be a path there. Then again, the path could go down here. And we could always just make the bridge go off the top. Do we have a north-facing bridge graphic? I guess if not, we could just rotate this one, so it doesn't really matter. The only thing we'd have to change is the shadow. Yeah. But that shouldn't be that hard to do. Yeah, it shouldn't be that hard to do. I could probably even do that. So I gotta write that down. Probably want to make a path going to the pond more quickly from the portal. Yeah, the battles are infinite. Well, actually, what we could do is say if you have auto repeat on, they stay in the battle. If you have it off, then they'll end the battle when there are no more fish. Then again, you may never end the battle if you don't have the DPS to be able to support ending the battle, I guess. The battles are infinite. You have to flee them to finish. End battle screen will show how many fish you got. Okay, anything else? I think if we could simplify anything, it'd have to be the rewards somehow. Yeah, like what if you just picked an adventurer that got any buffs that may happen? That way the UI isn't confusing. Are you gonna make casters better at fishing? Nope. Although you would expect the mage to be very good with their lightning skill. Yeah, I'm just a little concerned about the how the UI is going to show for this. We probably need all of the adventurers to show what their stats are. And we could just show them in a table probably. Like we show rogue and then this and then next to it, like we list these all out vertically. And it's just a vertical scroll like we have now. And then to the right of them we say like here's how many buffs they've gotten and here's how much it costs. Yeah, that could probably work. I have an idea for the about the UI for the skill tree in this. Yeah, sure. And I'll write down what I at least came up with now. Where is this? Here it is. What I'm picturing is a vertical panel where adventurers are on the left and their current buffs and required power fragments are on the right. Yeah, so something like rogue, +5 health. Well, I mean, let's just insert a table, right? Rogue, +5 health. And 10 fragments needed. Yeah, something like this. Let's shrink this. Row above. Venturer, current bonus, and fragments needed. Fragments needed 2, I don't know, something like that. And then at the bottom, there would be a pinned section with the slider for how much to feed, accept, and close. Cool. Can you tab in a table? No. Can you indent this at all? No. What? Really? Huh. Guess not. Is there really no way to move this? I guess you could center align it, right? No, you can't. I don't know how you do that then. All right, whatever. It doesn't matter. There might be a way. Like I said, not important. Yeah, I don't think we could get around having a special UI for this. I think you'd want to be able to see how you could upgrade this. And then that makes me wonder, how do you get to this UI? Maybe you end up seeing next to the slime, there are some power fragments. Maybe you get to this by clicking some in-world object, like a bucket of crystals next to the slime. All right. Well, we'll definitely need to try that out, but let's move on from that for now. And now design a system with repeatable purchases. I also kind of want to think about farming too. So we need some concept of repeatable purchases. Could be buying seeds for farming. How would farming work? We talked about this earlier, that when coming up with a new system, we pretty much had these things: game progression, power progression, selling for money. I think we have enough things that sell for money. Like, you're always going to get items. Those are always going to exist. You'll have ways of stacking items. You'll eventually have rare items and stuff. Hey, Dark. Farming tools have durability. Yeah, that's another thing I guess you could do. Could be buying seeds for farming or tools that have durability. Yeah, some repeated thing. I think that seeds are probably more amenable to sell because it feels like they're consumable. Whereas I know tools break even in real life, but it feels like more of a tax. Yeah, I know people don't generally like durability. I mean, the real thing we need is another money sink, or a money sink. I shouldn't even say another one. We could just have it be the money sink we already have. Like, you upgrade your town hall, and now instead of costing 50 and 100, it costs 200 and 300. And then your money sink is just a more in-depth form of what we already have. I mean, that's how adventurers work. That's how town hall works. We'll eventually have that with the enchanter and the slime. So maybe we shouldn't try to address this right now. I do kind of wonder if we were to add farming, which thing should it connect to here? Hang on 1 second. I had to sneeze, but I didn't sneeze. The end of the world. Hmm. I mean, we could say it's another power progression thing too. I don't want everything to turn into this. We do have 3 stats. So if we said quests are for power and fishing is for health, then farming could be for fortitude, I guess. I want to be very, very careful about how much of that we're giving out because it's probably not going to feel all that impactful if you end up upgrading your adventurers by like 5% fortitude. It's not exactly like giving them more life, but it kind of sort of is. Changing their abilities or something. Like, what if this is how you got skill points? Maybe that's what we need to do before we can get to anything like farming. Maybe we really need to figure out what we're doing about skill points before we can move on. Maybe farming is how you get skill points. Actually, what if that is how it worked? It could potentially work out. If we're feeding our adventurers fish and they get points, it'd be weird to grow food that they can't eat. Yeah, I agree. I think farming is a weird lateral move that doesn't fit in the game. So let me say this. It doesn't necessarily need to be farming. It could be anything. And did you hear about how we did fishing? Because I don't know how long you've been watching for, Ocleus. We switch to experience, then food could provide bonus experience stuff. Yeah, maybe farming is how you get skill points or experience. Okay, no. I can sum up the fishing thing. So this is what we spent most of the morning figuring out. So imagine just like in the game right now, you've got these signs that build stuff. So you'll have a sign that will build you this pond. And then the pond has some number of fish in it. Maybe it starts with like 2 out of 10. So it can hold 10 fish, but it's only holding 2. And you'll have a little switch you can toggle here that'll say for your adventurers to bring any potions they find and just dump them in the pond. And by dumping in the pond, it'll promote fish production. So you'll eventually get up to like 10 out of 10. And then the way you fish is by going to your battle map, choosing your party, and going to your town and clicking start battle. So now you're going to fight against the pond. And as you do damage to it, it's going to like pull fish up. Then the fish are what you'll use to upgrade your adventurers to give them probably just health. And then probably quests will be turned to give them just power. And then probably some new system will give them skill points or something. I don't know. So basically, fishing is done via battling the fish, and it gives you health buffs. So yeah, that's very cool. Yeah, I like the idea. And I think farming could be the same general way. Like imagine you had a plot of land over here that you could farm, and the way you actually farm is by like, choosing your party, and instead of clicking your town, maybe there's a little like field over here and you click that field and it's like start battle, and you're, throwing a watering can and throwing a hoe and throwing seeds and stuff. Or I don't know. I don't know how it would work. But yeah, we need to figure out what does the system need to do, and then what's a good visualization of that system. So I think what we need to revamp is how you even level up. Yeah. And then I think we can have all of these systems play into this stuff. Talking about battling plants, I love it. Yeah. Yeah, no, I think it's gonna be great. And I think this is very flavorful for a game where you died and became a skeleton and came back in like a cartoonish village. Like I think it works. So I am looking forward to this. But yeah, I definitely think we need to figure this part out. So let's go figure this out. So we talked about a lot of this stuff last time. Where was this? Now, let me read through this really fast. Problem is that we gave skill points to all adventurers at once. So when you hire a new one, you start with a certain amount of skill points and you feel overwhelmed. And I was thinking, okay, what if we stopped you from getting them immediately? What if you had to get the points? And one way you could get points would be through, yeah, something like farming. And remember, this doesn't have to be farming exactly. I mean, pick any system you can kind of come up with. Maybe this is crafting or something, and your adventurers are the ones crafting. Not sure. Well, so I'm not thinking about farming too much just yet, and I do remember this issue. I'm thinking more about how do we even level up adventurers? Like, what's a good system for this? I think the UI for these health and power augments can go in the adventures panel. Adventures panel itself could get a layout like this. Oh, interesting. Yeah, I'll put this inside the document for right now. Where did I put this? Here. Kevin suggested something like this. For the level up, it could be something similar. You get an augment that you assign, maybe. I'm not sure. I've got to think about this some more. Let me look at this again. So cut down the number of choices. Don't give you all the points at once. Don't let you spend all the points at once. I'm kind of leaning toward this option of don't give you all the points at once. Quest for only for a single adventure and level them up as long as they weren't at the maximum. Grant the power orb. Individually paying to train adventurers. There was a hidden cost. Okay. Quest grants you power gems to show up near the tavern. The guild experience thing is not too bad. Yeah, this thing about experience points, the whole you're paying a time tax, not a money tax. Power progression comes from quests. So something would have to be toned down. Quests are an item sync. Okay, I didn't put a lot of, I didn't get very far with that, I guess. Unlock this guy. Stick figure man. He has no abilities. 2 HP. Negative 10 fortitude. Takes extra damage from all enemies. Okay, so basic, I guess let's just pull this in from up here. Resuming, thinking about this. Conclusions so far were we probably need to time gate the unlocking of skills. Experience is a little weird in this game since you have automated battles. So it's a time tax that you're paying, and it's not really fun to pay it. And if we don't give skill points by leveling up, then a new system could give them. I guess it's a system you have to put significant resources into somehow. So yeah, just thinking out loud here, what if we only gave skill points through some new farming system? Would there even be a point to leveling up? Like, yeah, what if level didn't exist at all and you just directly buffed stats and skill points? It's not bad. Another guy in the chat. Yeah. Like, what does leveling up do for you right now? It buffs your stats a little bit. Yeah, like you can see here, the warrior goes from 10 power to 12 power. So they get +2, +3, +5, +11, +17. I didn't really balance these numbers, but they get some tiny amount of stats per level, power, fortitude. Oh, I guess that's the only thing giving them fortitude right now. But quests can give this. Quests can give this. This is how it currently works. In the future, it might be that quests can give this and fishing can give this. And I don't know what gives this. And then the last thing that's not listed here is skill points. And like farming could give this. I don't know. Then you can avoid the weird max rank of 7. Yeah, I know. I kind of am leaning toward this. I hadn't really thought about this before. If we got rid of leveling, then we probably need to have something grant fortitude. It could be a final system. So then we'd have 4 things you can grant: health, power, fortitude, and skill points. And of all of them, probably skill points are maybe the most impactful, but they don't have to be. All right. Yeah. Yeah. Can pass it on as an equipment system. That's interesting. That it's not really equipment, right? I've always thought about this. Okay, I had this idea a long time ago. I've probably mentioned this on stream before, but you have a lot of RPGs and you equip things like a weapon. Okay, makes sense. Armor makes sense, and then rings. And for whatever reason, most games limit you to like 2 rings, but you have 10 fingers and you can fit multiple rings per finger, right? So why can't you wear like 30 rings on your fingers? And I wonder if we just had like your, quote unquote equipment, and it was like you had a weapon slot and an armor slot or something like that, and literally the item just got filled with anything, and it would give you +1 skill point. And same thing over here, you put anything in it, +1 skill point. So now it's like you get an armor from this thing and it gives you a skill point. You don't ever have to worry about upgrading it because just filling the slot is all that you need. And it makes me think we probably would reframe this to make it less confusing, because by having a traditional equipment system, it would make you think that at some point you could upgrade this. So we'd probably want some sort of like skill gem UI, and there's like a red slot and a blue slot and a green slot, and you fill it with the red gem or the blue gem or the green gem. And that way it's the exact same thing as the last system I just described, but now you don't have an expectation that like there's a redder gem and a greener gem. I don't know. We'll still think about that, but I think the important thing is what's kind of listed out here. Now there is one little wrinkle in this system. If we're going to give out individualized skill points and individualized health, then we should probably give out individualized power, and that's not how quests work right now. So I think we need to change quests, but I'm kind of leaning toward this system. We would probably need to give out individualized power, which quests don't do right now. And it'd be nice if all of these systems could use the same general structure to them. I think the problem with quests giving out individualized power is that quests take a lot longer to do than fishing would. Yeah. Something like what you said would work, I think, Kevin. You'd have a dedicated UI for it, and then there'd be 4 meta currencies, one for each stat / skill points. But yeah, modifying quests to grant individualized power would probably mean giving fewer quests so they're not super tedious, and then just not having all adventurers be powerful. I mean, this could actually be a good thing for the game, but it could also be a little bit risky. museum of totally rare items could maybe give fortitude. Yeah, it could. This could be the museum of rare items. Quest give multiple gems, like 2 in the beginning and then 3 and so on. Yeah, we would just need to be careful about how you use them on your adventurers. I guess you could choose to invest them in the same adventurer. We need to figure out how they're going to level up. Because I guess the way we're really thinking about this is if you get these power gems, they're basically like experience points, but for one stat. So as you get more of that stat, the cost increases. And as a very simple way of rendering this, maybe we say like 10 gems to get to level 2, then like 12 gems to get to 3, and maybe 15, 20, 30, dot dot dot, so on and so forth. And when you get your first 50 gems, you might be like, oh man, I can level this character up 3 times then. Or maybe you're like, oh, but I could make this character a little bit more powerful. And I also wonder, is this more control than people will want in the game? Like, do they like the concept of just, oh, I leveled up? Or do they want to drill into this? I think we'll need to test this for sure. Because I like that the game is pretty simple right now. Like, you're not worrying about experience. You're not worried about how you level up. You just do the normal things you would do when you level up. This would require some manual action. And if you don't, yeah, anyway, requires some manual action. So quest could just give some number of power gems. Fishing would give some number of health gems. And what do we say? Some other systems would give fortitude gems and skill points, just outright skill points, or skill gems. Yeah, then there's one UI to manage all of this stuff. I would say that an option is to allow taking them back. If we're going to do that, this pretty much has to be equipment. Because it makes sense to take equipment off of someone and put it on someone else. But well, I guess it doesn't have to be equipment. You could be taking these gems out, but it's kind of weird if all just numbers in a UI that you're taking out, like, oh, I'm getting 430 power gems from this character somehow and making them weak. I think if we just allow for decreasing the difficulty of bosses, this won't be a problem. Like, presumably there's no combination of stats that makes it so you can't progress through regular battles. And then with bosses, as long as the explorer always lets you decrease the difficulty, then there'd be no combination that lets you get stranded there either. Yeah, I don't think this will be a problem. Could allow for respecializing these gems, although then I think it makes sense to just make this all into equipment. As long as you can keep doing regular battles, you can still buff the other characters for bosses. Wait, how? Because the way quests work right now is you might get to a point where you need an item that you can't get yet. So quests might dry up. The fish stuff wouldn't. Because you'd always be able to give your weaker adventurers the fish buffs. And the other 2 systems haven't been decided, so maybe those work. Also, we could just change quests so that, well, I guess we can only change it so much. I'm asked this question a million times over the course of this game, but does it just make sense to have equipment then? If there's going to be some UI for managing this stuff, I think the problem is like, I guess we could figure out a way to render this stuff. Every adventurer would have 4 item slots. Power, health, fortitude, and skill points. Then again, they don't need to be framed that way. Oh, actually, you know the way this could work is every adventurer has 1 slot and you're upgrading the items themselves. Yeah. Then you could swap however you want, and it would be obvious where the stats are coming from. Okay, that's actually incredibly interesting. So you basically would have some item. I don't know what it would be. Maybe it doesn't make sense for it to be a weapon, I guess. I don't know. Maybe it's like an amulet or something. It's just an amulet equipment system. And you augment this amulet or amulets with gems. It changes the stats on that one amulet, and you can only have as many amulets as you have adventurers, because you're expected to wear 1 per adventurer. So it might be something like, maybe they have colors, it doesn't really matter, but blue amulet might have something like plus 15 health, plus 5 power, plus 3 fortitude, and plus 2 skill points. Whereas maybe your red amulet isn't upgraded as much. And maybe this one's like plus 10, plus 3, plus 0, and plus 1. And now if you want to swap them, you can swap them. So you can put your red amulet on your rogue and your blue one on your mage. And then when you choose to upgrade a piece of equipment, you're choosing to upgrade this to like plus 20 health instead. And the cost to do so is some number of health gems. And it would tell you what the cost is for that. Man. I'm just so torn. Like it works, but is this too much? Have I gone too far? You could swap amulets as you see fit, which is sort of like respecializing. I mean, your inventory would only need a total of however many slots your adventurers have, or how many adventurers you have. So in this case, I have 7 adventurers. So if we had an inventory showing we need at most 7 things, and even then you're probably going to have 7 things equipped across your 7 adventurers. So your inventory would just be blank pretty much. Or maybe there's no concept of inventory. You just drag things in between your adventurers. Like there's a little amulet thing here, and you just click it and drag it over to the warrior, for example, and it just swaps the two. I guess it depends on how you want to view this stuff. There could be a separate screen that makes it easier to view what they all are. All right, so I think my biggest concern here is complexity. My second biggest concern is how tedious this process feels. If you want to upgrade 5 different amulets, is that annoying? And I guess that all depends on how often you're getting upgrades. Yeah. Man. Adventures in their equipped amulet, maybe some slots to take them out. Yeah, I was thinking of something kind of like what Ophog did here. We have 2 equipment slots per like adventurer, and then we have some like equipment slots and then usable slots. But anyway, it's just these 2 things that would need to be considered. So now instead of, there was no way to scroll this, was there? Nope. All right, so let's say we did this. So these would be like the amulets, and you'd be able to see what they do by clicking them or by hovering over them. And then you could just swap them out as you want. Or swap them in between characters if there's any such item that can do that. Yeah, there is. Yeah, so we put like this here and this here, and you could say like, oh, I want these 2 to be different. Yeah. Hey, Blues Clues. I'm down in the complexity dumps myself. Are you designing something? Because I think this stuff is tough to figure out how you want everything to work for this. Like, even just how did progression work? If we have 4 stats, does it make sense to do things this way? And if we're going to have this system, like, where do you, let's say I go through with this, the other questions I would have, how do you get amulets? And my gut answer would be adventurers come with them equipped. And then how do we limit skill points on amulets? And probably based on number of elites defeated. Yeah, I guess there really isn't too much as far as the questions go about this. And it does solve the problem that now quests would be able to power up your adventurers by actually powering up their amulets, which could then be swapped. They can be upgraded with essence. I'd like that as flavor with the skeleton thing. I died, but somehow I'm alive. This land must be imbued with energy. I'm not super concerned about the flavor, the manifestation of this yet. What I'm more concerned with is just, is this system too complex? Does this make sense? Do you like this idea? Because if we say that there's health essence and power essence, like, yeah, I'm fine with that. If we say they're power gems or something, I'm fine with that too. Yeah, if we just say that like magic is imbuing the item, that's also cool. It just needs to be some explanation in my mind. Same building could be the limiting factor for how you can upgrade them. Yeah, and then I guess the other question would be like, what happens when you defeat an elite if we don't have the concept of experience? Or what if... No, yeah, I don't think experience should be in the game. I think this like especially makes it so experience shouldn't be in the game. We don't need multiple progression systems for the same stats. Okay, this still unlocks a new area, new buildings, and a higher level of, or a higher number of skill points per amulet. Yeah, it still does stuff. Just probably doesn't feel like as big of an accomplishment anymore. Simulates Earth turning into a planetary prison, so hundreds of physics objects zooming in all directions, causing chain reaction. Oh, I see. Okay, so technical complexity, not necessarily like design complexity. Like essence just affecting a general level thing, and the health, power, fortitude scaling be specific to the adventure itself. Let me think about that. Because, yeah, we certainly don't need an amulet system. We could just have these stats be on each adventurer, but then there'd be no changing it. So if you decided you didn't like how you allocated these things, then you wouldn't be able to respecialize. Yeah. Oh, yeah, max money as well. Higher money limit and a higher number of skill points. Okay, so are amulets the way to go? pros, it satisfies the equipment thing that everyone is talking about. It lessens the complexity of traditional equipment because you're building it, and at any given time, you understand which one stat you're boosting. Cons, only really it's only better than directly adding stats to adventurers in that you can swap amulets. If that isn't appealing, then we don't need this complexity. So I think this is the big question here. Do we need this? Should you be able to change these things around? Got like 80% of my code from DeepSeek. I mean, if it's working, it's working. Pro, it's a money sink. You pay for each gem you apply. I feel like we could make anything into a money sink. I wasn't even thinking of having this be a money sink. I guess what we could do is we could make, I was gonna say a blacksmith or something, and they could modify this, but yeah, anything could be made to take money. Hmm. Yeah, I just can't answer this question. I don't know if people would ever swap it, and I think adding UI to swap it is potentially annoying, even if it is what I just showed over here. Like you're just, oh, I just drag this over and I can put it in my inventory if I want to, and I mean, I'm pretty much subscribing to the philosophy that you shouldn't be able to make mistakes in this game. Now, let me think about this some more. Yeah, allowing, I mean, let's require some kind of equipment UI. We would already need UI to see adventurer stats, so it would be very similar. Both features don't have to be tied, right? No, it's true. They don't have to be. I just, even from a game design perspective, I'm not sure how I feel about that. Like, there are a lot of games that don't have respecialization of everything. They have it for only some things, maybe. Although I would say modern game design is such that if you can assign points to something yourself, you're usually able to respecialize it. The thing is, trying different builds here, quote unquote, it's not, they're all just the same basic stats. So it mostly comes down to, also, I guess the other thing is, even if we had the amulet system, you might have dumped all of your stuff into one amulet. You might have an amulet that gives you like 200 health and then all the other ones give 0. And there'd be no respecializing that. Although we could have some like break it down system and give you all the constituent things. I guess we'd still have that. Yeah, maybe we don't focus on it at first. Even if you could swap amulets, you wouldn't necessarily be able to change the stat allocation. Maybe some NPC later in the game can allow for this. They don't even need to be amulets for that to be possible. It could just be some kind of like essence magi that, or magus that yeah, swaps the bonuses of 2 adventurers. I don't even think people would use that. I guess that's kind of my answer then, huh? Yeah, I think most people would see that and be like, I just don't care about this. Okay, so then let's back up. Let's talk about what actually came out of this. So conclusions from all of this. Adventurers are upgraded individually. All stats and number of skill points are updated individually. Upgrading a stat further costs more of the gems to upgrade. I'll just call them upgrade gems. Not sure what these are yet. And what was the other thing? Oh yeah, you're still limited in how many skill points you can put on any one adventurer at a time, but nothing else has that limit. And I think the final thing is we won't allow respecializing stats, at least at first. If we ever do allow it, should probably just be a reset all button. No, maybe not. Probably just be a reset button on an adventurer that refunds all of the upgrade gems you used. That way we don't have to worry about swapping. Yeah. All right. Yeah. And maybe now I'm probably actually understanding what Kevin did over here, which I don't know if I did originally. Yeah, so this would be like health, fortitude, power, skill points, or something like that. And you could just keep putting points in it and see how many you had. Yeah. Definitely we need to make that clear. Okay, so what does this let us do if I'm gonna switch to this? Let's go back to this for a second. These are all just such big changes. Change adventurer progression. Do away with levels and leveling up. Change the level up banner to defeated elite banner. Each square is one gem, but yeah, it could be that that's the amulet UI. Yeah, I think seeing how much it costs to upgrade something in terms of number of those gems, sort of like how we have town perks basically. Like I think it would probably look something like this. You'd see this would be like power and HP and fortitude. And then this, instead of saying 50 coins, would be like 50 power gems. And this would be like 50 HP gems. And this would be 50 fortitude gems or something like that. And that, I guess I wouldn't say level 3 of 4. This would just go away. Just say level 3. Or level 0, level whatever. I guess rather than do that, I should probably just write this out like this. Lev 2. Oh, you can't resize this? Interesting. Yeah, I just want to cover this. Yeah, so something like that. Okay, do away with levels and leveling up. And copy all these things over here. Hope the gems get a satisfying clink sound. What if what is the sound of a fish hitting a table? Like that doesn't fit. Never explains why it's that way. Adventurers are upgraded individually. All stats are upgraded. individually. Upgrading a stat further. You're still limited on how many skill points you can put in. We don't allow respecializing. Yeah. And then we say quest grant power gems. Fishing grants life gems. And 2 other systems need to generate the other gems. Fortitude and skill points. But just to be clear, I'm okay with an amulet as a background or something, but I was picturing that the whole point of amulets specifically was that you could swap them out, and now there's no point to having them swap out. So it'd be like each adventurer is just upgrading their stats. And you know what? Honestly, allowing for just a free respec is not that bad. Just grant all your gems back. Yeah. Okay. All right, so the whole reason we did this is because we needed to figure this out before we could talk about farming. But now we need to go back to talking about quests. Quests grant you some amount of these power gems. Yeah, I think we need to allow respecializing. Yeah, I don't know what I was thinking. Respecializing will be possible via a reset button or even plus and minus buttons in the UI. They'll just refund number of gems used. I don't want the player feeling like they can't experiment. Also, you don't know which adventurers are even going to exist later on. And I don't want you to have to hold points. Yeah. I think this is important because I remember in the original Diablo 2, there was no whoa, what? I can say that was weird. There was no concept of respecializations. So let's say you wanted this skill Frozen Orb, you didn't get it to level 30. So it was kind of almost like it was best to play by getting 1 point in everything, knowing that you couldn't respecialize, and then wait for level 30. Like, how would you even get to level 30 if you only got 1 point in everything else? Hey, Camino, thanks for the raid. How's your new MVP going? Hey, Tricky Lady. There is, but it reverts the entire skill tree. I'm talking about the original Diablo 2. When Diablo 2 launched, it did not have respecializations, if that's what we're talking about right now. I know they added them. I know Akara can grant them. I know there's the essences that you can get, but those didn't exist at launch. So the best way to play was to not spend skill points in this stuff because this is all garbage. There also weren't synergies. And you just literally never used this skill when you were like level 60 or 70, which is kind of a shame. Hey, Ryan. Well, having different specs for different things or for specific things. So, for example, you have a farming spec and a progression spec. I don't think that really exists as a concept in Skeleseller. If it did, I could see the need to do that. Yeah, anyway, Cavino, I am curious about the whole MVP stuff. I know you've been working on something for a little while. Have you fully launched your game? Because I looked on Google Play and I didn't find it, and I don't know if I should have been able to find it. Yeah, so for context for everyone for what we're doing here, I've been working on Skeleseller for the last about a year, and we launched a demo and it's on Steam, and if you want to, you can go download it and check it out. It's got about 2 hours of content. And people have been generally receiving the game pretty well. I've got this little feedback thing here. It says, I had fun playing the game. We had 22 responses. I mean, that's not a crazy amount, but most people rated either strongly agree or agree. And there are some long form things. Generally, from everything I've read from people who play the game, it's like, okay, the demo is fun. The stats support that based on medium playtime and everything. And then they're like, well, I don't see how this is going to continue on beyond what I've played the game and I've seen here. And we've been coming up with some new systems. And one of the ones we came up with so far is a fishing system. It does not work how it works in other games. So you'll unlock this pond and then your pond has a concept of some number of fish in it. And the way you increase that number of fish is by dumping potions into your pond. So you might be accumulating potions here, like how you see some armors and some weapons here. And you could basically toggle a little switch, and all of your adventurers will start bringing potions down to the pond. And that'll increase the fish population. And then in order to actually fish, you're going to battle against your pond. So you're going to choose a battle party and like click your pond area over here somewhere, click start battle, and they'll just start attacking the water. And every once in a while, a fish will pop out. And then you can use that for stat boosts across your adventurers. So you can increase their health doing that. Oh, just waiting for Google and Apple to approve the app. Gotcha. Yeah. MVB is going good. Almost done. Focusing on modularity when it comes to making mini games and eventually maps. Yeah, I haven't been able to follow too much. I've been doing a lot lately, I feel. And I've got to tone that down. But yeah, I'm glad to hear it's going well. So anyway, fishing was one such system. We already have a quest system in the game, and it just has you collect a certain number of items, and it grants you power boosts across all of your adventures. What we just talked about before the raid is that right now the only way to increase your health and power is through quests or actually through leveling up. And leveling up doesn't work the way it does in other games. So you only level up a total of 2 times in the demo. And I think we're going to split that. I think we're going to remove leveling up completely. So this rank just disappears. There is no concept of experience points. There's no concept of leveling up. And instead, anything that would have increased any of your stats, you basically pick which adventurer should be getting the stats. So eventually you get like, maybe your paladin is way stronger than your other characters, and that's fine. Just like how you have a skill reset, you'll have a stat reset thing. So now that that's kind of been decided, it's like, okay, well, we have a source of power. That could be quests. And we have a source of health. That can be the fishing thing that we're about to add. So now what could be the source of the other 2 things we have in the game, which is skill points and fortitude. And fortitude doesn't need a system for it. I think we can do that last for sure. I think skill points would be important though. I think fortitude, the way we could get this to work is just start the characters with like some amount of fortitude. So what was I just talking about? Quests. Oh yeah, that's right. So we got to write this down. Quest grant power gems. Each quest can grant an increasing amount, knowing that you need more and more for your characters. There's one thing I don't like about this system. I just thought of. Oh man. Okay, so the thing I don't like is that when it does come to fighting a boss, so like let's say I go and battle this thing, I'm only allowed 3 adventurers in here. So in order to maximize my chances of beating the boss, it would behoove me to reset the stats of every other adventurer and dump them all into these characters. And it's not like that's really a problem. It's just anything that is mechanical and is the best way to play a game should probably be automatic. Yeah, I don't know how I feel about that. We can limit the maximum you can use pre each elite. We can, yeah. That could potentially work. We may want maximums for all of these so that you don't feel, what's the word? Required, I guess, to reset the stats of everyone except for your boss battling party. Yeah, and yeah. Okay. Yeah, I think it's fine. All right, so I think we've answered everything except for, yeah, what about a new system? So how do you get skill points in the game? And I think this should be fun to figure out. Like I said, I think it can come from farming or something like that. We just need to figure out how it's going to work with the fishing thing and fishing by clicking some node on the map and clicking start battle. I think that's cool. I don't know if I want to use that for everything. Like farming could be a thing that you as a player are supposed to do. And maybe your workers could help with it. But if the point is to get skill points, then we need to think of what is the means by which you're getting them. Skill points should be somewhat rare. We should still generally expect you to be getting X skill points per boss, where X is the number of adventurers you have on. Oh no, that's not even true, is it? Let me think about this. Yeah, it's something like that. I don't know. So let's say you have 8 adventurers and 3 bosses defeated. You would have 24 skill points. Or maybe not. Maybe get like 20. I don't know, somewhere between like 15 and 30. So that gives an idea of the frequency through which you're supposed to get these skill points. And 2 bosses took about 2 hours. And you have 4 adventurers for that. And that would mean that by the end of the demo, you would have 8 skill points. So getting like 1 skill point every 15 or so minutes. Yeah, and we probably make it like 5 to 15 minutes by the end of the game. It's fine to require something more manual. Yeah. So now I wonder, what would a system for this look like? Do we want a fish sprite pack? No, I think we just need 1 fish. Because it's just going to be shown like popping out of the lake or the pond or whatever. Where do I have? Do we have any fish inside the sprites that we got? How do I open this? There we go. I think the marketplace had like a tiny fish somewhere, but I don't think it's a big fish. Where is that thing? Game, assets, world, market, Alice. Yeah, they had these 3, but actually that could be fine. Oh, they're kind of cartoonish looking fish, right? Yeah. Well, anyway, those would suffice for now. Maybe we want a couple different sprites or something, but yeah, I think it'd be a ton. It took me a moment to realize they were fish. Yeah, I think we'd probably get something different. Anyway, as far as farming goes, if this is even going to be farming, it doesn't have to be farming. It could be anything. All I know so far is whatever system we're creating should be responsible for giving skill points. And you should get them 15 minutes or so at first. So let's think about it. Quests, the way that they're set up. Let's say we complete this quest and go to the 3rd quest. So the way this works, you get these from the volcano, also the jungle, but people wouldn't go to the jungle at first because they wouldn't have that character yet, or the power yet to do that. So we go to the jungle. I'm going to let this just run, and we're going to have it tell us how long it takes. That was 5 seconds. Oh, I'm overpowered, though. Okay, let's go back to the title screen then. Let's try this again, but this time, let's not cheat as much. Let's just cheat a little bit. So we want all the adventurers, and this is the power level you would actually be at. And now let's go to the volcano with those 3 characters. We also need auto battling. So they should win this 100% of the time. How long did that take? 13 seconds, 14 seconds? And if we just repeat this again and take a look at how long it takes the next time, it's probably going to be about 13 seconds. Yeah, 13. I'll watch one more time. And 12 and a half. That's taking like 13 seconds per battle. And it takes how many cloaks? It was like 14, I think. And we get what? 1.5 cloaks on average. So 14 divided by 1.5 times about, let's say 13 seconds, is 2 minutes to complete the cloak quest. And we want something like 7 times as long as that. So I think we got to be careful about this. I think it should possibly be something with many steps, and each step takes like a minute or two, and then you have to connect the steps together somehow. Because let's say that was with 14 cloaks, right? We could just have multiplied that by 7, and just said, okay, you need 100 cloaks, and people would be bored to tears. So there's got to be something that factors into these other systems we have. I wonder if using these apples would be a good idea. Like it's not a farming system so much as a foraging system. And you build the forager and it puts paths through the entire map. And now your adventurers can like wander around and collect berries and stuff. I don't think that's interesting. I also don't think that makes sense that it would turn into skill points. In fact, that's another thing. I guess what thematically would turn into skill points? Something magical. Yeah, I think of like these sorts of crystals and stuff. Or maybe, no, maybe mostly crystals, I guess. Maybe some crafting mechanic makes sense here. Yeah, it definitely could. Okay, so the cloak quest requiring 14 cloaks takes about. Actually, I overestimated a little bit because I didn't do any quests myself, and you would have done 2 to get there. So let's just shorten it by a little bit. It takes about 100 seconds to complete. And I don't think having someone collect like 100 cloaks would be fun. So we may want something that's multi-step here. Are there any oddities that we're going to incentivize by doing things this way? Like, you should be able to just stockpile your skill points. Oh, wait, there is something a little bit weird about this. Right now, your skill points are personal per character. So, like, if this character had 4 skill points and I click reset, or, well, I did that wrong. Anyway, they have 5 skill points and I put them all in and then I click reset. They still have 5 skill points. But there's probably got to be a way to take these skill points off of this character. I guess in essence, what we're going to end up doing is giving your adventurers 5 skill points, and then you can click the mage and spend 1, and then you can click the rogue and spend 1, and you can click the archer and spend the remaining 3. But that might be confusing. This is definitely making me think. This is very challenging. We probably need to put skill points at the adventurers level. So when you reset a character, the points are going into the pool that any adventurer can use. No, wait, that's not how that would work, is it? No, it isn't. No, that's stupid. Well, yeah, this is what's weird. If you think about it, we're gonna have some concept of these like skill point gems or something, and they're gonna somehow turn into skill points. So if you have 50 gems, no, yeah, I guess it doesn't work like how I said it works. So what I said is stupid. It's got to work the same way everything else would work. So never mind. Ignore what I said. Something magical, maybe crafting is the way to go here. I'm just not sure exactly how this would work or how it would be fun. That's a weird keyboard. It is. It's a corn keyboard. It has 36 keys total. So a lot of how you type on this is you press some keys and it types out letters, and then you hold another thing and press out some keys and it types out numbers, and you hold another key and press out some keys and it types out symbols, and you hold another key and it types out arrows or home and end. So yeah, basically every key does like 4 or 5 things. And as a result, you'll see as I use my computer that I'm like hardly moving my hands at all. So I think it's pretty nice for that reason. Like if I want to close this tab, I press my close tab key followed by my say no to this dialog key. I like open a new tab, paste or something, you know, delete all this stuff. And like there's just hardly any hand movement. I would even turn into skill points. Crafting is the way to go. So I'm gonna write what I don't think will work. I don't think it would be fun to have a quest that requires several crafted items that are tough to get. How do you mean how long did it take me? Or how did I memorize it? Because the how is just using it. The how long is about a month for English and maybe like 2 to 3 months, not even a month, probably less than a month for English, and maybe like 2 to 3 months for coding. And then it took me about probably a year to feel like really good at it. Yeah. Then I switched from QWERTY to Colmac, and that sort of reset the timer on everything. Although this would happen to probably most people on any keyboard. So if you just picture a traditional keyboard and then switch layouts on it, you're not going to just be typing like you were originally after a month. It's going to take you a while. Okay, well, I want to take some cues from other games for this. What tiered mechanics do they have for this sort of thing? Because I don't know, if I consider crafting in a lot of games, it's like collect 10 ore and then like make 5 bars and then use the bars for something else and so on and so forth. I don't think this is going to be fun. I don't know. How do we tie this into what we have, maybe? It doesn't even have to be crafting or farming. It could be like a raid system. You go in off to the corner of the map and there's some like super long battle that happens. Yeah, I guess there are 3 high level things we could consider here. High level ways you can approach this. A battle oriented thing, a town oriented thing that can be automated, or a town oriented thing that the player is mostly interacting with. I feel like this kind of violates the theme of the game. Well, I wrote mostly, so maybe that's okay, but or maybe it starts this way and then becomes something that can be automated, but I guess then we're just in this scenario. But even in these two, I don't know which option is better. Oh, we talked about fishing. Maybe whatever it is, maybe the reason it takes a long time is because there are some experience points associated with the thing that you're interacting with. Experience for the thing you're interacting with. So it gets quicker over time. Then perks can accomplish the same thing. Maybe it requires rare drops. That's interesting. Yeah. Yeah. This would require you to have a vault then. Oh, you know what would be kind of interesting? What if, okay, a couple things. We should probably come back to like chests at some point, treasure chests. But what if there were, uh, I don't know, like interlocking pieces to some object? Maybe we don't even do it like that. Maybe it's something like you find like I don't know, skill orb pieces and you're at 0 out of 4, and there's a skill cube piece or something like that. And this is me spitballing, so this is not going to be what ends up in the game. And you only have so many slots. So this kind of goes back to, I forgot who mentioned this earlier. I think it might have been James. You've got whatever, maybe 3 slots, and you find like 2 pieces of the first item and 1 piece of the second item. So now you're like, oh man, I need the 3 pieces of this item though. So you ditch the outlier piece and wait for the rare one of the variety you need to drop. I kind of like this. You're finding artifacts, like magical artifacts, basically. In fact, I think we even have a graphic for some of this, so I don't think they look great. And where do those graphics go? Oh, here. Yeah. Yeah, like this stuff, I guess. Do we have anything else there? Not really. Yeah, and I don't even know what these are. What are these supposed to represent? They're in the items sprite sheet, but like, what are they? Oryx Design Labs. Did they... Is it this one? No. This one. It's this one. And what are those? Do they use them in any of the pictures? No. Are they fossils? I don't know what they are. They look like they connect or something, right? I guess it doesn't really matter. And even if they were obvious, you'd need to know as a player like which ones of these you need. So I kind of like the idea of like, what if you collected these gems and you needed a certain amount of them, and they took up slots in your vault, something like that, or they're just colorful gems and you need X of a single color. Yeah. So vault space is at a premium for this. I think that could be interesting. These are rare things that you find, and maybe there's a way for you to bump up the rate at which you find them. The problem would be if you didn't know what these did, didn't realize they were important, weren't saving them, and then needed to wait like an extra 15 minutes to get the ones you were expecting. Maybe you need one of these color to get the skill gem. So what I was thinking is that maybe skills could require more and more of these as time goes on, because your town is going to grow in size and maybe your vault is going to grow as well. So you could store more of them. So now you need 6 of any particular color, and you're like, I have 5 of these and 4 of these, and I found a blue one. I'm going to ditch that. And that way we can still work toward these colors or something. I'm not sure. I'm not sure this is even fun, but this is, again, just me kind of brainstorming and trying to figure out, like, will this work? So is it fun to be limited by inventory space? I think it could be if there were some other decision you could make with these items. So like maybe they could also sell at any shop. So now you can't use your warehouse to store them, or else workers will take them and sell them. So bad. I don't think that's good. Maybe we would just prevent you from selling these. Could be a random combination. Oh, like a quest that says give me like pink, pink, red, blue, pink or something. Hmm. Hmm. Well, I think we can riff on this idea of there are rare drops that lead to this. So what are the like high level approaches of having rare drops lead to a reward? And it could be you need a certain amount of one of them, or you need a combination of them, or you need to spend some time or or money converting these to something else. Can I ask one question? I know you're focused on collecting your ideas. Yes. It is probably a good time now to share this little rule of chat, just so you know. I tend to prefer that people type like all of this stuff out as, one message. I know some of this was a response to what I said, but I tend to like fewer long messages than more short messages. But yeah, ask away. And I'm totally fine. I don't mind if people interrupt or something. I'm happy to put my foot down if I'm ever like, I'm sorry, I don't have time, but I do have time. Or I guess this is where the randomness comes in, which was this thing was already rare. And I think that's the problem. If these weren't rare items, it would feel better to have to throw them away or manage them somehow. I think given that these are rare drops, it's probably not fun to have to manage things too much. We could just assume that you have infinite space. Like right now we have a discrete number. We have 3, but let's say you had 40 or something. Then what tools am I using? I'm using Godot and C#. And that's about it, really. I mean, you see me typing in Google Docs to write a design document. I'm assuming you don't mean that. You can have rare and super rare. Well, okay, let me think about this. Let's say you just needed a certain amount of one item and you weren't limited by space. Is that fun on its own? It does add some intrigue to your drops. I think that could be fun. Yeah. Yeah, and Caged Owl, don't hesitate to ask more questions. I'm totally fine with that. I also have an entire repository of commands that you can type in here. So if you ever are curious about something like, oh, what's your keyboard, or what engine are you using, or what's the game about, or something like that, they're all commands through this gigantic list that you can just search for quickly. And feel free to just ask outright too. It doesn't necessarily matter. I don't mind linking to commands. Yeah, I think this is fun. I think this works. And then I think just making it cost more at some point might be okay, although I'm not sure about that. Maybe just find them more frequently. But I kind of want there to be some processing step to this, and I'm not sure what that would be. Like you get this gem, and then what do you do with it? Like let's say this is a skill gem. You're like, oh man, yeah, I finally got one. Do you put it in a building? Do you feed it to the slime? Oh, what is that? I'm deleting that command. All right, so my question so far, what do you do when you find this item? I wanted to require some kind of manual action to use it to get skill points, but I don't know what that is. And how do we stop you from battling a million times in the forest to get lots of these items? Maybe there's a drop rate for each location. If we do this though, then we need to require more of these items later on, or we need to require a different item later on. Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, I hadn't thought of this too much. Actually, we don't. we're gonna naturally require more of these items anyway, right? Naturally require more of these items because this rare drop will turn into some number of skill fragments. We can say that the red one is worth 5, the blue one is 15, the yellow one is 50, etc. That way it's always rare, but you're getting more value out of later instances. Yeah, I think something like this would work. Although this on its own, it doesn't feel like enough yet. Like, you're not making a choice here. Although I guess you really aren't making much of a choice when it comes to fishing. I guess you are making at least some micro choices with that. You wouldn't be making any choices with this system, though. Oh, they didn't. They picked up all those armors because they were all dropped on the ground. Now they're all gonna wait over here. Little cultists. No one's even interested in buying them. Not yet, anyway. There. Now we've got slightly more customers. Yeah, I feel like there's no choice being made here. There's no real choice being made here. So, what if we went a step back and had you decide between wealth and skill points? E.g., you got these gems and they're valuable. No, I don't like that idea. You can use them yourself. Oh man, so much to think about. Yeah. It seems like I somehow had 2 Godot 4 M variables. Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, well, I'm glad you figured that out because that really spooked me. Well, does this need to add a choice? Maybe it doesn't. I kind of would like if it did. All we'd be doing, okay, so far, so that everyone's on the same page because I've been rambling about this stuff for hours now. What we're talking about is how do you get skill points in the game? And right now you get them just by leveling up, but we're going to probably get rid of levels completely. So how do you get the ability to put points into things? And what we're talking about is what if pretty much every battle you do has a small chance of dropping, instead of just these items, like a rare skill gem. And that gem would be used to give you skill points. So maybe by the end of the first 30 minutes of playing, we expect you to have found 2 of those, and we make it so that the probability works out such that you pretty much will have found 2. So now you can put your skill points in. Maybe something VS Code. Yeah, I wonder how that got messed up. Anyway, the system I just described about you rarely get some skill gems. It works. It does what we needed to do. You'd put your skill points in, everything would be fine. It's just, is it interesting? And I don't think every system needs to be some like super in-depth system. Yeah. And we could always make town perks like you find skill gems more frequently. What do you do when you've already maxed out on them though? Maybe you can't max out. Maybe at the end of the game, you can just keep getting skill points. And it's prohibitively expensive. Well, there's got to be some way to sell it because even if it's prohibitively expensive, you will eventually get them all because there's only a finite number of skill points you need. And then once you get them all, these items can't just clog up your inventory. So I guess you'd always be able to sell it to the slime for like 5 gold or something. Or no, you just stop finding them at that point. Yeah. And then once you're at the maximum number of skill points, you just stop finding these. Or maybe we determine the max number and stop dropping them. Okay, so this is not a new system we're making. It's just rare items exist, and this particular rare item can be used to give you skill points. How do we give you the skill points from it? Let me give myself some items here. So let's say this was the skill gem thingy. And it says when you hover over it, like red skill gem, this gives you some number of skill points. I could just say that you left click it. But then I guess if it popped out of the portal and you tried dragging it and it just disappeared, that'd be really weird. I feel like there should be something that makes it clear. Maybe, I don't know. Yeah, I don't have an idea for that yet. What do you do when you find this item? It can't just be that you click it, because then you would try dragging it somewhere and it would disappear. There would have to be some kind of destination for it. Yeah, or it shouldn't exist as a physical item in the world. It should just be some number that goes up in a UI. I'm worried that if it doesn't exist as an item, that people won't know that they even got it. There was a game, Phantasy Star Online, and drops showed up in the world. They were green or they were orange or they were blue, but every once in a while they were red. These little boxes. And the red ones let you know that like, oh, I found something good. And a lot of games do something like that. They have a color system for items, or they make them glow or something. I mean, even Diablo 2 had like gold for unique items, and yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking. Like when you see this gem, knowing that you're going to get skill points, you're like, oh, that's a good upgrade. I like that item, and having it stand out visually, I think is important. So yeah, I want there to be a physical thing in the world, and if that's going to exist, then I guess we have to have, yeah, somewhere that you have to put it. So where is the somewhere? The guild could make sense. It could also just be something near your vault. Or I was going to say it could be something that you drag into your warehouse, and then once it's in your warehouse, then your adventurers just take it to where it needs to be. So they'll just come pick it up. And that way you just need to drag it from here to here. But kind of all of this sounds suboptimal. There's probably something else I'm just not considering here, and I don't know what it is. Maybe it could just be when you have the item, you get a button in your UI somewhere that says like consume skill gem. I'm not sure. Yeah. Maybe it shows, hey, LSRP. Game's looking awesome. Can't wait for full release. Thank you for the resub. Thank you for the kind words. Yeah, it's going to be a while. After talking about all this stuff today and on Friday, I think that, okay, this fishing system, that'll take like a week or two. This system will take maybe not quite as long, changing the UI and everything. It's like we just made 2 or 3 months of work and we haven't even finished finalizing these systems. Yeah, so I think it's probably best if see the item in the world and its tooltip tells you to talk to an NPC or something like that to get the skill gems. Maybe what we could even do is have like a specific item or a specific button around it. Also, if all I'm trying to do is prevent accidental clicks, like, oh, it popped out of the portal and you clicked it and it just disappeared, is that even a problem? Like, yeah, is that a problem? Scope continues to grow. It does continue to grow, and some of this was expected because we only had 2 hours of content and it was never planned to be just 2 hours of game. So, yeah, we needed some way to bridge the gap between that and what we had expected. Hmm. Alternatively, what I was going to say is once it's on one of these platforms, clicking it could be all you need to do to use it. And then just when you click it on the ground, it doesn't get used immediately. I kind of like that. I think that might work. It would result in someone possibly trying to drag this their first time and then realizing it just disappeared. Maybe, is there some other way around that? Maybe it has to be on the, no, I don't know. Yep, I don't know. Maybe that's actually how you use it. It's just by dragging it. You pick it up, and once you've held it for like 5 seconds, like right now, when you hold something for too long, it pops up a little tooltip beneath it and says right click to drop. Yeah. So what we could do is we could just have it pop up a thing and say like left click to consume or something like that. I'm still not sure. Yeah. Maybe there's just a pedestal near your vault where you're supposed to drag that. Yeah, I think since this is something magical, I think having some like magical receptacle for it would be best. You know, we had that enchanter pot system. Where is that? Yeah, here. We had these things. You would drag an item onto these. We could do that again. Kind of makes me wonder. There's another system that we had talked about, which is right now dragging items between shops is not the most fun. You have to drag it over to at least like here and then drop it. And a lot of people want to do that with many items at once. So I was saying, what if just you move the item and now if you drag it upward, it goes up to the warehouse. If you drag it left, it goes to a shop. If you drag it down, it goes to the garbage slime. What if they were just to like drag it right to consume it as a skill item or something? Alchemy pot. We just need a special thing for this. I'm still not sold on any of this stuff, and I don't know why. Yeah, the other thing I was thinking too is what if just feeding it to the slime is what you need to do? I don't know what the explanation would be. Or maybe you find the first one of these things and I don't know. All right, well, I got to think of that. I'm not going to come up with that yet. But yeah, I think this is a system we should keep. So what do we decide here? Rare drops, you need. All right, let's just write it down over here. Change skill points to be granted by skill gems. These are rare drops from pretty much any location. Although the drop rate should change based on the location. We expect you to get a new skill point once every like 10 to 15 minutes at the beginning of the game. Possibly more later on. Possibly more frequently later in the game. And then later instances can drop higher quality skill gems. So instead of getting, say, 5 points worth at a time, you get 15 or 50. And these should stop dropping once you have enough skill points across all adventures. Once you reach X skill points, I guess we should say. Where X is probably, I don't know, like 70 or something. Yeah. I don't need to make up the exact number right now. I don't want you getting an item that you can't do anything about. Any extras you already have at the time can be recycled or just brought or just used as normal, but they fizzle. Something like that. And then I still don't know how you actually use these items. I know for sure that I want you to see that they've dropped so that you're excited when they show up. Then I don't know how you consume/use them. Yeah, maybe an adventurer just has to touch them. Maybe you just have to put it in your warehouse for an adventurer. No, but if they just have to touch them, then they'll take them off the ground and then they'll immediately consume them. I don't know. Yeah, simplest possible way at first is just add a pot somewhere to put them in. I'm just not happy with that. All right, so what do we have left that I wanted to talk about? Have we addressed all the major problems? Where are the problems? Where are the problems? Problem, need more systems. I want more content, just adding more locations won't feel different enough from what they've seen. So we added fishing. Fishing is a way to get health. We're changing quests, so the quests are a way to get power. We're going to add these rare drops, and the first rare drops are going to be a way to get skill points. You eventually probably need some way to get fortitude. And I think a farming system could eventually be that. When's the new merch coming up? How's it going, Hepta? Didn't I list out all the problems somewhere? Could have sworn I did. And yet I don't know where those went. Oh, here they are. Need more systems, want more adventure customization. All right, I think we've covered this. I think this is now done. Solutions, individualized stats, and then systems to get those stats. Rare drops for skill points, fishing for health. Quests, yeah. Skill point distribution, I think this is pretty much fixed. Yeah. We want their choices to matter more when it comes to battles and deciding where to fight. Need more perks for stuff. They need more perks for stuff we just need to do. I don't think this is controversial or even all that difficult. Yeah. If people want their choices to matter more when it comes to battles, I wonder if individualized stats will be enough. Hang on one second. Okay. I heard a little meow from outside. Oh, wow, it's 4 o'clock. No wonder she's meowing. Hey, you want to come up? The answer is yes. She always wants to come up. Come on. Good girl. Okay, yes. Want to come sit down? Yes, you do. Come on, cat. Okay. She's just immediately purring. Okay. Yeah, so choices that matter more. I think this will help. The rare items dropping, I think if they're dropping from everywhere, it's not going to matter as much. I actually wonder maybe the boss fight should guarantee one of these drops. Oh yeah, they certainly could. You know, I should think about that. Maybe these drops are guaranteed from bosses. You can only fight them once until getting the special perk. Hi. She just wants so much attention. Yeah, this I think is already planned, needing perks for more stuff. Yeah, so I think it's just farming to get fortitude at some point, and we'll need to think of what that system might look like. My goodness, cat. My goodness. All right, what else was in the to-do list? Oh yeah, the combining identical items. So I think what we need to do now is, well, we eventually design the farming system for fortitude. Okay, calm down, cat. Calm down. Oh. And convert all of the ideas we settled on into issues. We did this part. Did we file all this stuff? Treasure chest for items. Capturing enemies, raising animals. Should you be able to get your own little, like, monster farm? You can capture enemy battlers like bats and snakes and stuff. You can equip them with hats. All right, what else? If you can create a quest. Lines of purchasing extra power. Could be you have to complete some sort of raid. Add a form of ascension, making item conversion fun. Dedicate your adventures to some kind of upgrading task. Yeah, I still like the item bundler idea. Yeah. Can't be throwing spheres. Yeah. Oh, I know. I've been following. Well, I've been following a little bit. New battle stuff. Let's see. Difficulty modifiers. Collecting items in their vault could be interesting. Rares could be displayed at shops. You could make shiny items. Yeah. Hey, Demon Wolf. Kitty. Yeah, Kitty. She's very attention starved right now. And yeah, new profile picture. I thought it was time to rebrand the Skeleseller stuff a little bit. How's it going, Demon Wolf? You know, Demon Wolf, you've been in the stream for a very long time, and I don't think I'd actually seen your face until I raided you that one time, and I'm like, hold on a second, is this Demon Wolf from a while ago? I think I saw that you streaming years ago, but I don't know if you used your face. I think you might have had an avatar. I mean, they're dying without love and pets. When did I raid you? Am I thinking the wrong person? There was someone else with like Demon Wolf in their name, I'm pretty sure. Who was that then? Maybe, man. Oh man. Okay, hang on. Let me go to your Twitch stream. Let me just see really fast. If hang on. Yeah. I rated you. I'm like nearly positive I can't control anything because I think the cat's on the keyboard. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, I'm like nearly positive. Hang on, I want to see. If I look at your clips, I recognize your face. You don't have any clips of your face being in them? Or at least none with your... No, I don't know. Maybe I didn't. I'm not sure. Oh well. Experience for your guild. Buildings is... Oh yeah, I like the mimic idea. I think we're going to do that. Adventure's got a skill you could use in battle manually. I think that would be cool too. And I think that's probably worth doing if we don't already have that written down here. She's just licking my hand. Look at this. She's like, I don't want you to have skin on your hands anymore. Adventure quest reward. Did I write this down? I don't think so. Huh. Yeah. I think some kind of manually used battle ability would be good. Can I press the A key, cat? Thank you. Oh, didn't like that. Manually used abilities in battle, question mark. Still would need to think about this, but I think people, oh, I don't know. Actually, I'm gonna delete that. Did I visit their website? I rated somebody who I thought, in retrospect, was Mr. Demon Wolf, but is probably not. And it's just somebody else. Yeah. And Mr. Demon Wolf's surprised at me saying that I rated them is what is now throwing me off. So maybe only one of us remembers. Maybe neither one of us remembers. She's yawning quite a lot. Hey, don't you swat at me. I won't be giving you pets anymore. And what else do we have? Okay, I think we've gone through all of this stuff. What about some other way of consuming items from the warehouse? Is that even needed? I guess it would be kind of neat if there were an upgrade, like your warehouse can just teleport an item to where it belongs every once in a while. But I think that'd be confusing. Maybe be like items can spawn in their final destination. No, that would be confusing too. Yeah, I don't really like any of that. Oh no, I know you've been following for a while. Like I generally know as much as I know about sort of anybody in chat. I know who Mr. Demon Wolf is in my chat. I just now can't picture anything outside of my chat. All right, yeah, here are the last few things we have to do. I think it's probably worth spending one more game design stream talking about this stuff. As most people know, if you're going to design something, you can typically correct mistakes or any issues you find way better than if you coded that thing and then tried correcting them. So it's probably worth it to just finalize on this stuff. And if I feel like we're done, then I think we'll just stop there. But probably a good idea to do one more day of game design just to make sure everything is sound. Coolify. What is Coolify? Open source platform lets you deploy any service in any language to any server. God, I swear every single infrastructure product has like an impenetrable description. This is better. But if you didn't know what these things are, I guess it wouldn't help you. Yeah, an open source and self-hostable Heroku, Netlify, Vercel. Yeah. Yeah, this stuff makes it sound like it does everything. Built by one guy, but now by two. I mean, it sounds cool. I like the concept of the whole, hey, you've got building live streams. Oh, this person streams. I like the idea of, hey, here's a product you use in the cloud and you can host it yourself. I think there's something like Nextcloud that I'm thinking of. Is this it? I think it was. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know the names of anything. But I like the idea of self-hosting that stuff and not being locked into some vendors online, especially if you don't need a lot of hardware to host those things. It's like most people can probably host their own, well, lots of services, I bet, like photos or documents or storage, and then not pay some fee per year. I wonder how much people do pay for that stuff. I think most people probably pay a minimum amount in storage. Like iCloud has like a $3 a month tier. It's probably good for most people. Same thing with Google and probably same thing with Microsoft. And then for something like a workspace type of thing with docs and spreadsheets, I wonder if people are paying for this stuff. I use Google's stuff, which is free. And I think Microsoft Office is free. I don't actually know. Is it free? Yeah, it is. What do you pay for then? Huh. I don't know. I could have sworn they had some monetization plan for like Word and PowerPoint and whatever else. Pay for iCloud for the photos and then Google Workspace. Yeah. All right, I think I gotta get going. I've been streaming for a long time today. Right? Yeah. I think that is quite enough game design for one day. But this was productive. I think we got another couple things out of this. We came up with a fishing system. We came up with some way to get skill points. It'll take some iteration to figure out how this is all going to fit together, but we'll try it out. Let me find someone to raid. Man, I felt less and less like raiding people for some reason. I think it's just the process of raiding is annoying. Like, I got to go through. I guess partially because there's no way for me to find people I'm not following in under a certain uptime. I'd have to write an extension or something. But yeah, I try to find people who are streaming in English whom I have not rated before. I think I'm probably gonna rate this person as a result of this. Yeah. So when I'm not following, which means I haven't rated them, they're in English and they haven't had enough time of like 4 hours or something, so they're probably not gonna just sign off immediately. And yeah, looking through these names, it's like this person's been online for more than a day. This person's another person I could raid. But let's go with the first person. I try not to discriminate. So just whoever's first on the list who meets the criteria, and that's this person. Where'd they go? There they are. All right, thank you all for watching. I will leave you with one quick link. If you have not already clicked this, please do consider it. Just wishlist the game on Steam. It's free, costs you nothing. You're not committing to anything. All you need is a Steam account, and it makes my numbers go up, which looks cool. But yeah, I'll be back online on Wednesday. I'm not going to stream tomorrow. I'm debating on making a YouTube video or something. So let's go raid this person. I've never seen him before, and we'll say hi together. And I will see you on Wednesday. Goodbye, everyone.